We're going to welcome everybody. I know everybody's busy, has meetings all over the place today, so we're going to go on and get going. Chairman Tarvin, would you open us in the word of prayer?
I don't need a microphone.
Okay.
The Lord can hear me, that's all that matters.
That's right.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings of life that you bestow on us, and we ask, Lord, that you would lead, guide, and direct in all that we do, and may we do what is pleasing to you and what is best for the people of the state of Georgia. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We've got two measures today, and we're going to go on and get with it. First up will be Chairman Petrie with House Bill 244.
You want me up front, Chairman?
You can sit right there. If you got to tell me what microphone you got right there.
I'll sit right here. I'll move over and sit at number 7.
Okay.
Christian Park, 2 o'clock meeting.
Yes, sir. Come
Yes,
on.
it is.
You are in the right place. Chairman Petrie, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and colleagues. Give me one moment here. All right. Bring to you today for your consideration House Bill 244. Just to be clear, this is LC 510279. 0279. So let me just clarify. First of all, this is really a set of amendments to our shellfish code and our commercial fishing reporting. And so let me just go through first to make sure everybody understands this and point out where we're making changes to this section. If you look on Section 2, the first issue we address here is the issue of reporting by seafood dealers. So anyone who is the first point of sale for seafood in this state has to report to the department their activity. Unfortunately, what's happened is that there are individuals and organizations that are not doing so, and apparently the current statute, the language is such that the department fears they can't be compelled to do so. Now, obviously, if everybody's required to produce a report, and if there's if people can just arbitrarily refuse or decide they aren't going to report, then the department would never really know whether those dealers are harvesting anything or not. So are they inactive or are they active and have no harvest? They can't know the difference, you see. And so what the department clarifies here is that you'll see on line 30, for the purposes of this subsection, a person licensed as a seafood dealer who has taken no activity described in paragraph 2 within any given month shall report such non-activity to the department in the same manner as provided by rule and regulation, which would relate to their activity. So even if you are not using that license, you have to report it. Now, right now, what's happening, we have folks that aren't doing that, and so we have folks that would like to be using that license fully, and they aren't having an opportunity to do so because others are just holding these licenses. Section 3, we actually define cage. In the original mariculture bill that I carried, we had fees for cages, which I'll address in a moment. And so we clarify the language on a cage here to make it clear that a cage means a containment unit of any size that contains or may contain shellfish for commercial sale. And then it goes on to say, for a larger outer unit which holds smaller units inside, the entire unit shall be treated as one cage. So the newer technology, to use that term today, for mariculture is that you have a multitude of smaller cages inside one larger cage. And so we clarify that in that definition. And we're going to come back a minute and talk about the, further down here, we'll talk about the fees. On line 42, I want you to notice we're talking about in this section 4, commercial fishing licenses. And just to remind all the members, the way we do this for mariculture, we have a commercial fishing license with a shellfish endorsement, and then we endorse a master harvester with a master harvester permit, and then harvesters work underneath that master harvester with a harvester permit. There are provisions in the code today that require, with language that says shall, that these individuals lose that license if they commit certain offenses. And the department, who is here today, if we need them to clarify any of this, wants to make that a may, because there are times when there may be issues that happen that may not cause the department to feel that this individual would not still be useful to the mariculture program, to continue to use these individuals and work with them to correct their deficiencies. So it says here on line 66, master harvester permits and harvester permits, instead of the current language says shall not be issued, it says may be denied to persons who have violated any of the code section above that you're looking at under section 4 in the past 2 years. So that relates to people seeking a license. The department can make their decision on this and use their own judgment. And then on line 70, it says that those master harvesters or agents shall, however, be surrendered, to make this very clear, upon termination of Department of Agriculture certification. So if it's a health and safety issue related to the Department of Agriculture, the shall is still there, and that's very important that we point that out. The may language relates to other issues that may be something like fishing out of season, something of that nature. Okay? Line 86, to continue in section 5, you'll see that you have the may language again. Any person convicted of violating any provision of this part may be revoked, where it now says shall. Again, we're giving flexibility to the department to make decisions on whether or not they want to remove these licenses from individuals doing this work. Trying to go quickly here, sir. Very important in section 6. Mr. Chairman, section 6, it relates to permitting in cages. Again, as I said earlier, we had a permit fee per cage in the original bill. We're eliminating that in its entirety. And I alluded to the new technology today. We have a multitude of cages in one large aggregate cage. The department never envisioned trying to make money on this. That was never the intention. They were trying to track how many cages we had out there in these leases. And we no longer have to worry about that with this newer technology. And we're just eliminating that fee altogether. That's all that struck language on line 99 to 112. Mr. Chairman, that is basically the bill, and I'm happy to answer any questions, or certainly to allow DNR to do so as well.
Are there any questions, or would the department like to come add anything? I mean, that was pretty straightforward. In my opinion, we've got a what number is that?
Number 4.
Chairman
Me.
Tarvin.
Thank you. So this is it makes it a mandatory reporting. That way they report if they didn't do anything, or if they did, that way they can keep up with who's doing what and how many.
Yes, sir. And
I mean, it's mandatory reporting, monthly mandatory reporting.
Yes, sir, and it is today currently, but it's the way it's been interpreted. Those that are inactive believe they don't have to report that they're inactive, and this clarifies
This changed that.
Yes,
Thank
sir,
you.
that is correct.
Okay. I just want to say I thank you. I know we kicked off this industry a few years ago, and I
Yes,
know
sir.
we're kind of working and ebbing and flowing to make it right, and I appreciate you going forward with this.
Mr. Chairman, I'd love to say one thing about that for the edification of this body. I would like to say the department's done a remarkably good job. We are fully prepared, and the leases are out there, and we've done everything we can in Georgia. The holdup is the Corps of Engineers. So our inability to get Corps final sign-off is the only thing keeping us from farming oysters today. But hopefully
that doesn't
will be
shock you,
resolved
does it?
soon. But I really appreciate the great work the department has done in this effort.
Me too. I would like to say and thank y'all for everything you've done on this, and I know we're all learning as we go. I have a few. Who's number 8? Chairman Corbett.
At the proper time, I'd like to offer a friendly amendment. I think everybody's agreeable to with this bill. If you got other questions, we can come back. But
Okay.
Proper
Well, why
time.
don't we? I'll entertain that. Why don't you? I think everybody has it in their packet, don't they?
It says a bill entitled, an act, should be a one pager everybody should have.
Chairman Corbett, why don't you explain your amendment?
Basically, all we're doing right now is it's unlawful to hunt any wild game, animal, bird by means of drugs, poison, chemical, smoke, explosive, or recorded calls or sounds. We are making it where you can use an electronically limited call to call bobcat and fox only during the season that it's legal to hunt those. So just adding it where you can use an electronic call to hunt bobcat and fox only.
Any thoughts or questions on that?
That doesn't eliminate using it for coyotes, because they don't have a season.
And
Correct.
that's the way I understand it. There's no season, so they're already, you can hunt them,
Just to
already.
clarify, you can already use calls for coyotes whenever, and we're just doing this
Don't
for
flip that out.
for fox and bobcats only during their hunting season.
But that's the amendment I would like to offer. I think the Legislative Council said it's germane to what
That
we're
code
doing
section,
here.
that's correct.
We can-
And I'm supportive, Mr. Chairman, of this friendly amendment.
Okay, why don't we take a vote on that amendment? What's the will of the committee?
I got a motion.
And moving the bill first.
I thought we did the amendment, then the bill. What did we do? I thought it was amendment. Okay, all right. Well, let's go back. Are there any more questions on, Dewey, did you have a question?
Yes, I did, Mr. Chairman, I did, and I guess mine was only on line 114, and I saw on this tag, I know that it was an assigned tag, so now it's not being assigned, so who would assign that? Who would assign that tag? This is line 114?
Yes, sir. Okay, line 1 so the previous language, this relates to the identification tag. It's still got to be approved by the department. My understanding is now it's handled by, we'll let the department weigh in, but it's handled by the harvester, but that it is assigned by the department. Is that correct, sir?
If I may, a number is assigned by the department. That previously, under old language, the department was going to issue the tag, and that was part of the dollar cost. Now we're going to allow the harvester to supply whatever tag they want, so long as it meets a marking requirement that we provide them. So they'll be providing their own tags.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Is it Chairman Dumick?
So, Mr. Chairman, at the appropriate time, I'd like to make a motion.
I'll hear the motion.
I move that House Bill 244 do pass.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any more thoughts and discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed? Then we need to move on the amendment. I have a motion.
Motion for the amendment.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Got that taken care of. Now next we have a hearing on a bill, and it is House Bill, where'd my list go? 314. Chairman Stevens.
Mr. Chairman, you cut off mic 10 too.
Which,
I was trying to turn it off.
Chairman Stevens, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, I bring you today House Bill 314. I have here with me today Ben Murray with the National Marine Manufacturers Association. What House Bill 314 is intended to do is one simple thing, is within the department to create a director of outdoor recreation. That is all. We will follow, if this passes, 18 other states that have taken the same lead, if you will, to understand and put forward the economic development piece of our natural resources. Sometimes that is, they come in conflict. As you know, the department's primary goal is to protect and save our natural resources. However, there's commercial activities, as the chairman just spoke on the previous bill, which may sometimes come in conflict with those things. We have an opportunity to create something here that will benefit us all. As you know, I think it was a couple of years ago, we passed a bill that created the GOSA funds, where we tax sporting good products to put back into the recreation, if you will. if we create this economic development director, if you will, within the department, it will further enhance those dollars to go to the GOSA fund. Mr. Chairman, very simply, before I turn the mic to Ben here, in 2021, and I'll just read you a few numbers here if you don't mind. And before I even do that, the senator here has the same bill over in the Senate. He has 55 signatures out of the 56. Certainly hope that he gets it over to the House as well. But in 2021, the outdoor recreation in Georgia generated $13.2 billion. It supported 139,000 jobs. It accounted for 2.9% of the state's economy. In total, the outdoor recreation economy contributed more to the U.S. economy than oil, gas extraction, mining, and agriculture. The data showed that outdoor recreation growth tripled that of the national economy from 2020 to 2021. The federal government did not start taking these information, Mr. Chairman, until 2017, so this is relatively new numbers. There is a Senate Outdoor Learning Study Committee that also recommended this, and of course the senators carrying the bill over on the other side. If I can, I'd like to turn it over to an expert, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, and I'll turn the mic to Ben.
Okay.
Thank you, Chairman Stevens. Thank you, Chairman Rhodes and committee, for allowing me to speak to you all today. As Chairman Stevens has said, outdoor recreation is a significant economic driver to the state economy in Georgia. You know, $13.2 billion, over 139,000 jobs, and nearly 3% of the state economy. But one thing that we wanted to get into and kind of share some more insight into this, you know, I know there may be some questions regarding, you know, whether this is duplicative of current state services, and I would like to touch on that. You know, let me begin by saying we are adamantly opposed, just as many of you are, in creating new government, as well as duplicating any current services that are going on in those areas. So, as we know, outdoor rec is a very complex industry. So you've got your private sector, you've got your public sector, and you've got your nonprofit sector, just like all the other industries. But what's unique about that is the significant amount of individuals within those sectors. So you look in the state of Georgia, I mean, all the way from, you know, the Twin Lakes and in Chairman Corbett's district, all the way up to the biking trails and Representative Ridley's district, who is unfortunately not able to be here today. But I would just like to compliment, you know, DNR and the credible work that they're doing right now. But what this bill would allow in this position specifically would be including infrastructure funding, expanded operation of these private sector businesses, which is going to increase GOSA funding, like Chairman Stevens said, as well as providing it as an economic engine within the state. So, you know, a direct example I'd like to share with y'all is we have been working with the Director of Outdoor Recreation in the state of Arkansas. They implemented this 2 years ago through a gubernatorial action and are now codifying that into legislation now. So in northeast Arkansas, you will find Bull Shoals Lake, due to the record high water levels there in the lake for the past 5 years, they're going to be keeping those water levels at the current state, which means that the infrastructure when the lake was originally originated is unusable. So this has hurt marinas, this has hurt small businesses, this has hurt, you know, the outfitters, and also boaters and anglers. You know, tournaments have left, fishing opportunities have went away because individuals can't get their boats into the water. So one thing how we've been able to work with Catherine out in Arkansas is, you know, she, once becoming the Director of Outdoor Recreation, was able to catalog all of the assets around the state, and she visited every single boat manufacturer in the state to be able to understand all of the opportunities that are encompassed with the outdoor recreation industry. And, you know, we're spread from biking, hiking, trails, hunting, fishing, you name it. I mean, anything without a ball is pretty much outdoor recreation these days. So, you know, specifically with that situation, she was able to convene a call with our team at the National Marine Manufacturers Association that was comprised of owners, operators, agency staff, and others to be able to hear firsthand these concerns and issues, to be able to find the solution, which is a high access boat ramp. And so where my team is stepping in is we have lobbyists at the federal level. So we are a nonprofit trade association. And so we are now to be able to help address this concern, asking federal earmarks and lobbying this directly. And this is going to benefit the state of Arkansas. But it's because of that public-private partnership and being able to bring individuals to the table to know what's going on. DNR does an incredible job. Like I said, there are so many different avenues, and they focus on conservation and natural resources. But we have seen in these other states that if you focus on if you focus on outdoor recreation as an economic driver, then your ROI is incredible. You look at the numbers just alone, $13.2 billion in the state of Georgia. That is almost 4 times of the film industry at $5 billion. I didn't do my math right. That's 3 times. Y'all know I'm from South Georgia. Please forgive me. But yeah, and so as Chairman Stevens said, currently 18 states have created outdoor recreation positions, task force, or even policy advisors. And there's already been an outdoor recreation commitment from the state of Alabama's agency. There's currently legislation in Tennessee, with most likely something coming from Governor Lee's administration in 2024. The state of Florida's agency has already released a study recommending this creation, and with the leadership support there, we could possibly see legislation this upcoming session or the next. And South Carolina has reached out for information about this as well. One thing that's good about this is this has also been discussed at NCSL. For those individuals that are there, you may have heard about this initiative that has been pushed. But in your folders, I would like to point that you will find over 22 letters of support from well-respected names in this industry, and maybe even one of your very own business constituents. I would just like to point out some of those that we have. We have the members of the Outdoor Recreation Roundtable that signed on this letter, and I think one of the most notable one is the National Wild Turkey Federation. You've got the marine industry, you've got the RV industry, you've got the horse industry, you've got the shooting sports, you've got conservation areas, Trust for Public Land, REI, Patagonia, so many individuals in here. And so, I just wanted to point your attention to that. I strongly encourage this committee to favorably consider this bill when it comes at the appropriate time. I know this is a hearing only, but this is a great opportunity for the state, really establishing Georgia Director of Outdoor Recreation would be able to unify and coordinate state and private investment in businesses and infrastructure to be able to boost the economy more. And, Mr. Chairman and committee members, I'll just end by saying this. We already have the right ingredients in the state, but this bill and position is the recipe card. And as we in Georgia use the Crisco to make the best fried chicken, and this fried chicken is outdoor recreation. So I think as everyone likes fried chicken, you like outdoor recreation as well. So I really encourage you to strongly consider this, and Chairman Stevens and I would be happy to answer any questions. We have a wealth of resources that we're happy to provide to you. So thank you.
Thank you, Ben. We do have a few questions. One is at Chairman Dubnik.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Stevens, just two quick questions. So are we dictating in law that a position, a job would be created within a state agency?
We are, and we're giving that authority to the DNR commissioner, and it does not have to be a new person. It can be somebody within the department. And their specialty is going to be in economic development.
Sure. And so I'm not telling you I'm opposed to it. That just caught me a little bit off guard that we're dictating a position. Is this done anywhere else in or similar function within Georgia government?
There are 18 other states that have done similar actions to this one. Several other of our surrounding states are doing something as we speak.
But do we do this, and have we done something like this in Georgia? I'm just curious if this is setting a precedent or if this has been done in other Georgia state agencies.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, we've done offices, and that perhaps could be an amendment instead of an office.
No, understood. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Chairman Tarvin?
Yeah, I may have missed. What is your name and who are you with?
Yeah, sorry, Chairman. Ben Murray with the National Marine Manufacturers Association.
This okay, inside the car. I just saw that.
Yes, sir. So we're the boat builders.
We're talking about we're going to hire one person, and put them to work in the DNR, being this person, what do we pay them, or what do we thought about that, or how much does this person make annually, or?
That person could already be there. And that person may already be within the department. Their focus is going to be on economic development.
But to pay, okay, is anybody here from the DNR? That you know
No, I
of?
don't,
They should. I'm happy to
Well,
answer.
Sure, it might be in the hall. One or two
Okay. I get, but we don't know what they're gonna pay, what this job is gonna cost, or nobody extra is going to be hired, or.
Well, I can answer that, and Chairman. And so, specifically for this position, we are looking at not repurposing any, specific funds to take away from any other programs. And we've had conversations with House Appropriation sides. We had a meeting lined up with the Senate Appropriation side, and we would like to replicate it after the state of Arkansas, excuse me. They pay their position around $80,000. So, we're looking for potentially $100,000 that's be able to establish the position and give them the funds that they need to be able to get this going. Now, other states, we have information, here within 18 other states, they range, from 1 to 4 full-time staff, and anywhere from, 125,000 to 400,000, and that's not what we're looking for.
So we, and this will be it if I can follow up. What we're talking about doing here doesn't grow it to we'd have more policing, or you don't think they'd have more policing?
Absolutely. So this is not, or do you want to answer that?
No,
Sure.
please
Okay. So Chairman, this would not be, we're adamantly opposed to new government. This is a convener. This is someone that's going to catalog the information that we have in the state right now and be able to best match these resources that we have with the appropriate departments and connections, and be able to best use the time and the potential funds that we can get. So it's not going to have any regulation. It's going to be solely a convener.
Chairman Petrie.
Thank you, Chairman. And I think some of the questions just may have been answered. So to be clear, so there's no fiscal note here. There is no budget that comes with this. Is only a position. I think we just clarified that. It's just, and I think all of us are just seeing this for the first time. So thank you Mr. Chairman, for allowing us to ask these questions. So there is no budget for this per se. So help me to understand. So let's just take like shooting sports, because I like to shoot a lot. So we've got a big gun club in Savannah and shooting sport. So how could this, just to take just an example, how could this person, because I understand how advertising or reaching out and to other states, things that all of which requires a budget, how you can help to kind of help the rest of the country recognize some of the outdoor resources we have and recreational opportunities. So how has that worked in other states where this individual has been able to it sounds like in a very broad way, increase these opportunities? How are they affecting that without a budget is my question.
Do you have the Arkansas document right there?
Arkansas, yep.
Right there. Thank you, Chairman Petrie. I think that's a great question. I would just like to read Arkansas's Office of Outdoor. They have an office. It's only one position. This is their strategic plan they shared with me for their first year. Their number one goal is establishing Arkansas as a top destination for outdoor recreation. So one thing that they've been prioritizing is biking. There has been a phenomenal public-private partnership right now in Northwest Arkansas with the Walton Family Foundation and the biking. So it is very well possible that Northwest Arkansas and Arkansas in general is going to be the U.S. hub for biking opportunities, biking competitions, because they're investing in the infrastructure. And they're able to do that because they're doing public and private partnerships. They're working with the federal government. They've got the private side of some specific investment that they need from foundations and nonprofits. That's a direct example of that.
So to follow, so they're helping to bring those partnerships together. So they're
Yes.
coordinating, if you will. Is that fair, Chairman?
Chairman,
Bringing these parties together.
bringing them together and really eliminating some of the conflicts. And like I said earlier, the DNRs is focused, and should be, on our natural resources and preserving and so on and so forth. But you might recall, if we had a director of outdoor recreation that understood the economic side of this stuff, we would not have had the conflict that we had with the anchoring regulations. If you might recall that a couple of years ago, if somebody understood the phenomenal numbers that we get from boaters, they came from all over the world, not just all over the United States to Brunswick, Georgia, to let people understand. And we went on for months before we got that straightened out. But if somebody were to look at it from an economic point of view, development point of view, we could eliminate these conflicts before they even happen.
Excellent example. I think I understand fully now. Very good. I like it.
Chairman Corbett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On line 79 through 81, it looks like we're giving a lot of power to this. All state agencies, counties, municipalities, other political subdivisions, regional commissions, other public agencies shall have the power and authority to take all actions which may be necessary. Who do they answer to? I mean, we're giving away that's a lot of.
I think you answered it.
They are directly appointed and answer to only the commissioner.
So it'd be the restrictions that the commissioner already has. That would be
The commissioner of the DNR.
Yes.
Correct.
That guy's kind of shady.
I would never go there.
Well,
Is this streamed?
He and I were born the same day in Valdosta. We've been feuding for a long time.
He sat in front of me on the house.
Do I?
He sat in front of me on the house. So.
Thank you. Chairman Dubnik, you have another question?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry if I could just follow up. Chairman Corbett just asked that. So this would be a position appointed by the commissioner and reporting directly to the commissioner.
Correct.
At the same time, does the commissioner therefore have sole discretion over relieving this person of their duties?
Yes.
Okay. And
He is at the pleasure of the commissioner.
correct. But if I'm understanding correctly, with us codifying this into law, that would not be a position that could be done away with at the discretion of the commissioner.
It's into law. We would have to come back and remove it, correct?
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mhm. Any other questions? Your light's blinking.
Can't cut it off.
What number you do?
9. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess my question is, you got that $13.2 billion that would state economy. You all got that 139,000 jobs and all of that. So who's doing the work right now? I mean, so where did this information come from?
Do you want to do that? That's the feds.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Chairman Stevens said, outdoor recreation was not tracked on the federal level until 2017. So this is tracked by the Bureau of Economic Analysis, and they are now releasing a report every year specifically on outdoor recreation and individual state data. And there's still things that are missing out of this. The federal government has their specific guidelines of how they're researching and collecting this data, but from what they have gathered, it's at 13.2 billion. I mean, if you ask me, you look at all the marinas, you look at the outfitters, you look at the people that's going unaccounted for up on, rivers and Blue Ridge that may be doing canoe operations or anything in between, they can't tap into every single thing. So in my perspective and just my, marine industry numbers, it's most likely higher than that. But that is the number by the federal government, and it was released the day after the election back in November. So this is very current data.
Well, I want to thank you very much because, again, like I said, I thought it was kind of low too, but I wasn't going to say anything until you gave me where you got this from, because someone seemed like they had to have had this data.
Yes, sir. And if it was up to me, I would love to give the Fed some advice of how we can actually collect all of the correct data. And that's an example of this position, actually, that's listed is knowing specifically, one thing that we have in this document that we would love for the position to focus on, and this would obviously be up to the discretion of the commissioner and his team, is specifically disseminating the economic impact statistics of outdoor recreation for the state of Georgia alone. So someone within the state that is specifically looking at this data and being able to disseminate that and seeing whether, okay, is this higher? Because there's some other things that they didn't include, and based on the parameters of what the federal government studied.
Thank you.
Okay. Chairman Petrie, you got one more comment?
Yes, sir. If you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, thank you. And it's really a comment, not a question. I just wanted to say, as I reflect on this, and I know we got to work out some of the understand it a little better, but I will say this, Mr. Chairman, to the extent that DNR, wants, we think about more and more land acquisition we're doing in the state. We want people enjoying our WMAs. We want people using our parks. this really makes a lot of sense to have someone within the department that is not only interested in preserving and protecting this land, but also really focused on making sure we get the best use out of it by the people, and kind of benefiting the totality of community economically as well as we do that. And it may actually be helpful to us as we consider these things, something I've been real passionate about, to continue to purchase and preserve and protect more land and more parks. I think it's helpful. It may indeed be helpful in that regard as we go forward, as it draws attention to the importance of these things. So just a comment, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You got,
Representative McLean, it's broken. Oh, there it is. Sorry. 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 Ben, quick question. Do you have any numbers on a state that's had this in place for 1, 2, or 3 years? How much extra grant money, federal grant money, they might have brought into the state for these programs? Do you have any numbers? And I have a follow-up question, too.
So I don't want to say a number out loud because I don't want to think.
You
I would
made
like
up
to
a
get
number
that-
a while
I was-
ago.
that's
Make
what
up
I'm
a
saying.
number. I'm just
Yeah, I mean,
kidding.
I mean, if I was confident in that, but I'm transparent and honest. You know that working with you, sir. I would honestly like to ask Arkansas. You know, there's other states, North Carolina. You know, and so I would like to get that specific
That'd be good
information
for
to get
the
it to you.
next time.
Absolutely, because each state is doing something different in how they're focusing on this. And specifically, you know, there's things outside of their operation, whereas us, you know, this boat ramp is estimated, if it goes through with the federal appropriation process, that's a big chunk of change that's going to save the state. So I'd like to get some current data from them.
Yeah, well,
that's
we're looking at how much is it going to cost the state for this
Yeah.
position, or is it going to cost? It'd be good to know what kind of extra money this position is
Absolutely.
bringing out of the state. Second, Chairman Dubin, I had a little side thing going over here. Sorry.
I'm not sure. Do we really want to go there?
No. But
with Dewey, stick with Dewey. With the one that brung you.
with the position, how long does the commissioner have to pick this person, or if he replaces this person, that is there any guidelines on when he has to fill the position? Does it have 3 months, a year, or does he have to fill it?
I'm not sure we want to put a number on that, to be quite honest. It's whenever we're in economic times, and I can remember 2008, whenever we were cutting everything to the bone, I'm not so sure that we want to put something there where they've got to fill the position, because we may have to come in and do some serious cuts like we
Okay,
did then.
Good. Well,
it's fair enough. Is that it? Is there any other thoughts, questions, or discussion? I want to thank y'all for coming, and thank you for giving this, and I think we just need to keep talking about this and mulling it over, and I thank y'all for that.
Yes, sir.
Anything else from the committee? We are adjourned. Thank you.